Okay, so now that you have the parts added to the game that we're working on, we're going to start working with the properties and changing them in this lesson. So first you want to go ahead and select the item that you want to edit the properties. And again, to rename the item, you go over to the Explorer tab and you can find it highlighted and then just click there and then you can rename it. So right now I have that named block. So with that highlighted, you go to Explorer and then it'll be highlighted there. And now the properties should be on the bottom right-hand side of the screen now. So you can see I can change the brick color. So let's say I'd like to change the color of that part. I can go ahead and it gives me colors here. You can also click on more colors and then you can use this as well to get more finer shades of color. Let's go with maybe a purple there. That looks pretty good. And then once you have that selected, you like it, you just press OK, and then that will be applied to that part. So I can also change the shadow. So right now you can see the shadow because of where the sun is in the game. I can go ahead and unclick that, and now it will take away the shadow, and that might be helpful depending on what kind of game you are creating. You can also change the material, and so we've got the material right now as plastic. Let's say we want to change it to something like maybe marble, and so if I zoom in, you can kind of see it has a marble texture. It's kind of hard to see with that color. You can also change it to maybe something like slate. And so there, that's probably better. You can see the kind of texture that slate has. And again, you can play around with these. For this one, let's go ahead and change it to a brick. And so now we've got a kind of like a purple looking brick there. And again, this can be pretty neat when you're building your games to change all the different colors. Okay, so now I'm going to continue looking at some properties here. And there are many properties here we can look at. We're just going to do a basic lesson on changing the properties. And all of these properties can be changed with code. And I'll show you how to do that later in the course. But right now, let's look at the reflectance. And so this is a knob, so you can kind of like change that, and that's reflecting the sun. You didn't see much difference there. Transparency, that is, you know, if you want it to be invisible, the more, it's a scale from 0 to 1. If you go to 1, that'll be fully transparent. And then 0.5 will be 50% transparent. You can see as you work with this, once you get to 1, you'll notice the shadow went away automatically. So we can see that I can change the transparency if I'd like. And again, if you're working with something like a cloud or a force field or something like that, the transparency will be very important. You can also change the position of the block. And so now you'll notice if I move this, that the position changes. And this is a great way to find out where you are on your map. So right now I'm going to move over to the left. You can see that's moving. And then if I move up, you'll notice the last one, or the middle one moves, the 34, and that's because that's the y-axis. So you have the red will do the x-axis, and then the green will do the y-axis, and then the blue will change the z-axis. So you can change the position there. So that is how you can change the appearance and those kinds of things of the part. And then you can do this with any other part. So say I wanted to change the sphere, you can change it there with the properties. Also, you can go up to the top with home selected. You can change the material right here. Say I wanted that to be a brick. That looks a little interesting. Let's do corroded metal. That looks kind of neat with a sphere. Let's scale this up a bit. So I'm just going to hit scale, and then that looks kind of like a little bit of like a world or something like that. And I can change the color. And so let's say I wanted to do maybe a teal. So now I've got a teal looking sphere with that material. Cobblestone might look good too. Yeah, let's do cobblestone. So now I've got a cobblestone teal looking sphere. And so that's an easy way to change a couple of those. To find the rest of the properties, you can go down to the properties. And same thing with the other parts. You can do the same exact thing. So that's the beginning of properties. We're going to continue with a couple more properties that are important with the parts in the next lesson. So your action item for today is to go ahead and become comfortable with the properties tab on each of the parts that you're working with and experiment with the different materials, and that will give you some ideas of what you can create for your game. I thank you, and I'll see you in the next lesson.